Well, good morning again. And I'm going to say just a few words about exercise. And I've got a short little PowerPoint for us to go over as well. But it is true that as human beings, we were programmed to survive. And part of survival is movement. And if you evolved from a caveman or you evolved from a hunter-gatherer, you had to move in order to survive. And so the essence of our activity here is that the human DNA was made to move. And if we're made to move, then you had to be a fast runner. You had to be a hard puncher in order to gather the hunter-gatherer. And so this natural selection process is even true right now today in the animal kingdom. And that there are no fat falcons and there are no, fat lions. They've got to be fast. And so a sedentary life now, we talk about the healthy benefits of activity, and it's so ironic is that in reality, being fit is normal. Being sedentary is abnormal. And so this sedentary death syndrome is what is evolving to us, is that we've gone from being fit to unfit to sedentary, and now sedentary and fat. And so if we are in modern life, do physical activity for 30 minutes a day, the rest of the day, you're probably sitting down. And so sitting has become the new smoking. And if you look at exercise as a mechanism of a medicine, it works for all of these diseases. What does it work for? It works for brain health. It works for your immunology. It works for your heart health. It works for your hormonal health. It works for your musculoskeletal system. And it defeats or puts off or prevents cancer. Now, there's no single medication that does all of those things, and with virtually no side effects. So the medicine is just sitting there for us to take daily, but nobody has preached this as an aptitude that we need to incorporate in life. So if you look at anxiety and depression, it works. You go to if you're depressed, you go to your family practice doctor. There's about a 25% reduction in depression, but if you lift light weights, it's 40%. If you lift heavy weights, it's 60%. That's just with lifting weights. That's not running. That's not bicycling. That's just doing some curls and some presses. So if you look at the cancer risk, the facts are just overwhelming. It once helped prevent cancer. Number two, delay the ravages of cancer. And number three, there's now unpublished evidence that shows strong evidence that if you are physically fit and maintain that fitness with cancer and are getting chemotherapy, the side effects of chemotherapy are not present because it diffuses into your fit musculoskeletal muscles. And so the very fact that we can treat this chronic disease, which is the ravage of the 20th and 21st century, is a fact. Osteoporosis. Girls, if you're going to break bones when you're 60 and 70, and you say, well, I'll prevent that with vitamin D and calcium, it doesn't work. Because you still lose calcium unless you're physically active. Now, if you're physically active and do those things, now you not only prevent osteoporosis, you accumulate calcium. But if you just take the pills for a living, so sorry, no kemosabe doesn't work. And so it's not too late. This study is a remarkable study that just took 85-year-olds, took 85-year-old people, and it used just lightweight training 3 times a week for 12 weeks, 30 to 45 minutes per session. And in this study of 85-year-olds, they increased their muscle mass and increased their strength remarkably we're talking about 2-pound curls now. We're talking about 5-pound curls. So it's never too late to become physically fit. And frankly, physically fit and fat is okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay because the physical fitness actually delays almost all of the ravages of being obese. But you can't get physically fit if you're truly obese. So our newest disease, you heard it over and over again, is this disease of obesity. And I'm going to show you 22 slides in about a minute. And it's a visual effect. And I want you to look at the legend down here. And for this particular year, 1988, we don't have data every year on Arkansas or any state. So some states do or do not have data for that particular state. But I want you to see that this is obesity trends among U.S. adults starting in 1988. And I want you to see what happens to this over the intervening next 30 years or 25 years, okay? So we're going and granted now, the legend is going to change. The legend is going to change to dark blue, then it's going to change to a yellow, and then it's going to change to a red. And so here are the next slides. Okay? Now, what if this was Ebola? All right? What if this was the dreaded killer bees that we read about? If this was that, this spread across the United States so fast in such a short period of time, this almost like it's a contagion. It's almost like it's an infectious disease, and it's obesity. And so that now Arkansas is up at 39.7% or something like that. And I could show you other years, but the effect is still the same. Is that we went from a very low incidence, and it's even got California. Even all the health nuts in California have got it too. So it affects everybody in the United States in a very, very short period of time. Now, I would love to tell you that exercise will keep you from getting fat. That's not true. And if you're fat, exercise will not necessarily make you thin. Matter of fact, it's a combination. Exercise may have some impact on your weight, but don't expect it to. Because most likely you can't exercise enough to really lose the 20, 30, 40 pounds that you may need to lose. It's the combination of exercise as a medicine and the nutrition and adopting a well nutrition life. So this is what we see now, is that if you look at your functional capacity and you look at your survival, that the last few years of your life you become fragile. And the fragility index has to do with another disease. It's got a name called sarcopenia, which means wasting flesh or loss of muscle mass. And when you lose your muscle mass, you lose your ability to be mobile. And now you lose your independence, and now you're gathered in nursing homes and gathered in other facilities. Because you've lost your ability to move because you lost your muscle mass. However, what we would really like is for this curve to extend straight out to the very end. And then you become mobile up until the time that you pass on. And so now you've added probably 20 or 30 years of mobility and independence to your life. Now, I'm giving a talk at the Arkansas Heart Summit on August the 18th at Embassy Suites, and one of the talks is on longevity. And it's a summit that goes on all day long with live cases from the heart hospital and heart surgeries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the topics I'm giving is on longevity, and that there are people in this room who should have the expectation of living to be 120. Now, it's not just exercise, but exercise is a major, massive component to it. It's the one medicine that you can take. There are scientists who believe now that the first person to live to be 1,000 years old has already been born. And in order to do that, there are technologies now that we have that can, in combination with this DNA slicing as you develop mutations in your DNA and many other aspects, that will probably extend our median life expectancy way past 120. Remember, the median life expectancy in 1840 was 45. And every year since 1840, we've added 3 months to human longevity. And so the likelihood that we can live to be old without this exercise medicine is improbable. And so if you're going to exercise, you've got to have these ingredients. These are absolutely must ingredients. It's got to be planned. You're not going to extemporaneously come home one day and say, I think I'll go exercise today. That's not going to happen. You've got to make an appointment and keep the appointment. It's got to be fun. Don't go out there and do something drudgerous. I mean, if you think the treadmill is a horrible experience, you're right. It's a horrible experience. Go have some fun. Get on your bike. Go do something fun. Go for a walk in your neighborhood. Whatever it is that incorporate, it's got to be fun. It's got to be easy to do. It's got to be time efficient. And it's got to generate some sort of results for yourself. So with that, I would say that exercise is medicine. And if you don't have exercise as part of the medicine that you're taking every day, then you're missing out on one of the greatest benefits in life, and that is the pleasure of knowing that you're going to have your physical independence when you're old. And that itself is a reassurance that we all would love to have. So thank you very much for your attention.